All right, welcome into Market Day Report. I am Scott Shellady, otherwise known as the Cow Guy, and I'm happy to be here. I'll be bringing it home here for the next 2.5 hours. But let's talk about the markets, because that's what you're really here for. Thanks for joining us. If you've been with us all day, thanks for sticking around. Let's take a look at what we've got going on in corn. A lot of red on the screen today, folks. December down 5 1/4 cents to 6.82 1/4. March is off 4 3/4 cents to 6.88. So that's no bueno, as they say in the business. How about soybeans? What's going on there? Soybeans are suffering as well. Nova off 9 1/4 cents to 14.30 3/4. We've got Jan off 13 3/4 cents to 14.40 1/4. So still high prices. We're still well above $14. So I guess that'll be we'll take that as a takeaway, the positive. But still negative is that we do definitely see a lot of green or a lot of red on the screen. Wheat's off just a little bit here in Chicago. Diesel's off 1.5 cents. 8.44 1/2 is last. March is off 1.5 cents to 8.63 1/2. Let's move on over to the hard red wheat in Kansas City. Well, there you go. This thing changed a little bit from this morning. Diesel's up 5.5 cents to 9.45 3/4. About 4 cents off the highs there. We've got March up 3 3/4 cents to 9.42 1/2. How about Minneapolis? What's happening down there or over there? 4.5 cents lower in that D's contract. 9.44 3/4 is last. March is down 3.5 cents to 9.57 even. And then finally, let's take a look at cotton. It's always got a little something different for us. Here we go, folks, making another move in that D's contract, 377 points higher to 82.77. And just to remind everybody, these prices are brought to us by Bar Chart. And let's bring in the next guest analyst after that, Brian Kelbrants from CHS. Ryan, thanks for being on. Well, what do you got for us? What are your thoughts here?
You know, we have a dollar that's sharply higher here today, so that kind of hampers our exports too. The dollar's up over 1.428 points at 112.773. So that's got a little pressure. You know, beans are a little bit under a little bit of pressure. We got crude oil down $1.15 right now. We are seeing a big jump in diesel, up over 9 cents today at 377 1/2. So you asked a good question yesterday, and yesterday, the EAI reported diesel fuel production increased last week to 5.1 million barrels a day. Demand, we're burning about 4.2 million barrels per day, but exports are a little over 920,000. So distillate fuel inventories increased last week by almost 400 million barrels. That make that 400,000 barrels, and we're about 19% below the 5-year average for this time of the year. But this morning at 7:30, we saw export sales. Corn came in at 372,200 metric tons. They were thinking between 250 and 600. The bean number was 830,200. They were thinking 700 to 1.6, so that's a little bit shy on the estimates there. Meal, 122,000. Estimates were 150 to 400. And the oil was a slightly negative number, negative 2,400 metric tons. They're thinking 0 to 20,000. And the wheat number came in at 348,100 metric tons. They're thinking 200 to 600. So, but right now, you know, we're still continuing to watch. They're moving vessels out of the Black Sea. A couple more moved out of the Ukraine. So that's a positive. Russian officials are working with the JCC that kind of runs the Black Sea grain deal. And they met earlier today, and they're urging the U.S. to aid with its food and crop nutrient exports as well. And they did raise their wheat export tax beginning on November 9th through the 15th. So there was some news about an hour or so ago that Russia's signaling a huge retreat in the southern Ukraine. So that's something to watch. And we're keeping an eye on that Brazilian weather. They're expected to see some showers in the central south and central west areas over the next couple of weeks. A little bit dry in Argentina still. They're expecting dryness in the eastern areas to continue into late next week. Those are the main things. One other positive is President Bolsonaro down in Brazil said for the first time yesterday, he's asking protesters to kind of take those blockades on those roads and lift some of those, as demonstrations are restricting some people, and that they don't want it to negatively affect their economy down there. So that's what we're looking at today, Scott.
Oh, that's a mouthful. Yeah, I was just going to ask you that before we went off, and you answered my question before I got it out there. So I really appreciate that. You covered everything. You're going to put me out of work, but hey, we'll see. I think all good stuff. Great. Thank you very much for your content, Ryan. That's Ryan Kelbrants. He's with CHS. We're going to go away. We're going to pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk livestock with me after this.